So what do you make of the fact that they've now spoken again? We know what Tim Cook said on the call most recently with earnings, that they were going to have maybe more to say, or they would consider it more in the new year. You can characterize it perhaps better than I can. But what do you make of the whole thing?
I think Tim Cook's playing chess. I mean, Apple has talked about how their domestic cash is being depleted by the dividends and buybacks that they've already committed to. He's pushed out people's expectations a few months, saying we're going to talk to investors through the end of the year, maybe tell you something first quarter of next year if the board decides to do something different with cash. I think he all but said they would, because he pointed to that, kind of used that kind of language. But then at the same time, you've got Apple doing things like this plant in Arizona that they have bought, that they're going to then lease to a supplier for their sapphire glass that they need for camera backs, for the Touch ID sensor, and maybe for some other things like watches, if they are in fact coming out with those going down the line. So there are a lot of reasons for Apple not to fully embrace Icahn's proposal. I'd be shocked if they did, but Tim Cook seems to be doing quite a job of diplomacy here.
But it's significant in and of itself, John, I guess, that they're still talking, right? That apparently Tim Cook hasn't dismissed the idea outright, correct?
I mean, how can you stop talking to Carl Icahn when he wants to talk, though? I mean,
you make a good point.
You know what I mean?
You make a good point. But in all seriousness, right, if there is this ongoing dialogue, and Cook has said on the call and perhaps elsewhere that they'll revisit this in the new year, at least the idea is going to continue to be discussed over these next few months.
Definitely. They still got a ton of overseas cash. Of course, the repatriation question that lots of CEOs in Silicon Valley, John Chambers probably being chief among them, the question that they've been asking, are we going to get some kind of tax holidays hanging out there? If that happens, that gets a lot easier. But, you know, I expect that they will do something with that cash one way or the other in the next few months, maybe a slight bump to a dividend or buyback. Probably not what Carl Icahn's asking for, but I think probably even he doesn't think he's going to get all he's asking for here.